Thank you for attending this weekly virtual training with AFM. AFM volunteers are happy to provide this training to you. You are encouraged to share what you have learned from this training with your colleagues. This training is provided free of charge and does not include a certificate of attendance at this time. The training will be recorded, and when possible, recordings will be available at AFM's YouTube channel for future viewing. Since this is a 1-hour training, we will start with training and will invite you to introduce yourselves using the chat feature in Zoom. At the end of training, AFM's fire safety advocate, Jose, will be hosting a tea time, and you are all invited to stay to network and ask further questions about the training topic or to discuss the pertinent topics to the fire service. Please make sure to mute your microphones, and if you have any questions, you may unmute yourself to ask. Now, Jose will get us started with a words of encouragement. Thank you, Jose.
Thank, thank you so much, Shandy. We appreciate you so much for always being with us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And today, with a word of encouragement, we're going to read from our normal book, that is 90 Days of Encouragement, third edition. Today, we're going to jump on day number 69. The main topic is pain can provide purpose. By Andrew Stans. He's the battalion chief with a large metro department in North Carolina and a FCF International member. And I read, have you ever been in a situation that you worked very hard to achieve only to find out that there is an even bigger mountain to climb? Each personal achievement or success seems to be marked by the challenges of the next step of the journey. It's as if the mountain of adversity shouts at you. You don't think that you are done yet, did you? If we are not challenged, facing difficult circumstances or struggles, do we truly grow and learn? In short, leadership without opposition, struggles, and challenges is nothing more than a title. To truly understand leadership is to embrace the fact that adversity is a necessary part of our journey. Each day that we face another obstacle, we have a choice to make: cower and submit, or use it to drive us forward. Personnel or boss problems, life struggles, conflicts, let's change the position by learning from those around us. Analyze as they criticize. Seek first to understand rather than to be understood. That's by St. Francis. As we take one verbal assault after another with a smile because we now realize that they are at test, a mile marker in our journey, and despite their poor disposition, we choose to learn from this experience. Tough times can make us or break us. As a leader, we have chosen to be refined by them and not defined by them. Each day that we rise to face these trials, let us lift our eyes to the one who has faced it all and remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is in Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. You are not done yet, and God will be faithful to complete you. That is in Philippians chapter 1, verse 6. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask of you that you help us even in our difficult moments. Even as we serve the community as firefighters and first responders, we ask you that you be with us all the time and always. Give us courage to face our fears and even rejoice when we have triumphed, because we know all things happen for good of those who love the Lord. We thank you and we bless you. We pray all this trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen. Back to you, Nancy.
Amen. So hello, everybody. Today good to see you all. Today you get to hear from me. And I'm really excited about that. So most of you know me. I'm Nancy Moore, the Director of Programs from Africa Fire Mission and the co-founder. So I send you greetings from Dave and from the rest of our team. Every week, our team is excited to hear how these trainings go and to share lessons with you and with those that watch online later. So please remember to share this material, as Shandy mentioned earlier. So today I wanted to focus, at least to start with, on our community fire prevention programs and really make sure that all of you know the resources that are available to you as you go out and have the opportunities to go out to sensitize your communities. Sometimes does anybody, and you can use the reactions or even just if your video's on, kind of raise your hand. Does anybody notice that it can feel intimidating to think about going out into the community? Do they feel like that? Or it can feel just kind of difficult to do that? So I know it's sometimes I've found that can feel difficult. As we've talked to firefighters across the world, sometimes going out into the community, I saw that, Francis. Sometimes going out into the community can feel difficult and feel like a struggle. But what we have seen in the communities, and some of you are in those communities where you have seen success in going out into the community. So I wanted to start with a question. What do you see as the benefits of being out in your communities, talking about fire in your jobs? What are the benefits there?
Can I set the ball rolling as the others get
Yes,
to have an idea?
of course.
All right. One of the benefits that I find when I go to the community is I tend to make them have a touch with the firefighters, because the notion that is out there in the community is that the firefighter is an enemy, he comes late, he doesn't care a lot. So by me being in the community, I show them that who's a firefighter. They can get to feel me, they can get to ask questions, and we can get to interact. And another benefit that I've found, even as I interact with them, it is easier for me to share the fire brigade number with them, and they can get to save on their phones much easier.
Thanks, Jose. Anyone else that benefits that you've seen if you've had the opportunity to go out into the community? So, what as Jose had said, there's so many benefits that we've seen. One of the things when Africa Fire Mission started community fire sensitization programs, and the reason we started them was because we were hearing your stories. We were hearing the stories of the firefighters across Kenya who were not loved by their communities. And we really wanted to find ways to help change that. And we brought Nairobi Fire actually to the Mathare Valley, to the Pangani Center where Jose is today, and asked them to bring their trucks. And the teachers from that school were so excited to meet the firefighters and to see the fire truck and to learn about keeping safe from fire, that we knew there was more work to do. And so I really want to encourage you to think about the things that you might be able to do to empower your community to feel safe from fire. How many of you have had a negative experience of your own with fire outside of the fire service in your own life?
Yes, my name is Peter Muturi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, welcome.
Oh, I have a experience outside the fire service because in 2005, my house was caught on fire and I was not allowed. And when I reported back, everything was consumed by fire.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
is one experience.
absolutely. What was the cause of that fire? Do you know?
Yeah, the cause of fire was there was no, at that time, there was no electricity.
Okay,
And when the electricity came back, it came with destruction and it caused fire.
okay,
Yeah,
got it.
the cause was
Thank you.
electricity.
With the
Thank you.
electricity. Yeah, thank you. Hey, sweetie. um, so yeah, anyone else a event that you've had that outside of your experience in the fire service with fire?
I'm Francis.
Hey, Francis.
I was on a highway during my work days, and a truck in front of me happened to catch fire under the engine, but the owner of that truck did not have an extinguisher. But with me in my car, I have a small extinguisher with
Uh-huh.
me.
Yes.
Uh,
Very good.
I was able to pull in front of him. We stopped, and I helped those guys with my small extinguisher.
Uh-huh.
But the truck needed now to be towed to a mechanic near a filling station.
Mm-hmm.
So with the experience that you guys have given us, I was able to help those guys, even though it was not much help, but they really appreciated.
You bet. It was much
Okay.
help.
Yeah,
Imagine what would have happened without that small
yeah,
fire
yeah,
extinguisher.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 But yes,
It can seem like a small thing, right? But
yes,
it's those small things when we are empowered ourselves, and then when we empower the community and those around us. There are many Kenyans that have those fire extinguishers in their vehicles because it's required, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Are we making sure that they know how to use those fire extinguishers?
They even thought that
You
they
know?
were not important, but I
Yeah,
explained and I told them how important they are.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that experience.
Okay,
Good.
welcome.
Yeah. Others, what else have you experienced that may be considered negative with regard to um, fire in the communities where you live? Again, outside of the fire service. So I see there are a few that have joined us since I started. Today, we are focusing on community fire prevention and some of the resources that are available from AFM and some of the things that you can do. Flora, I see you there, and I'll just prepare you in advance. I would love for you to share some of the stories from Kalifi and some of the fire prevention work that's happened there in a little bit. So I want to just take a moment to think about how do we get started? So some of you have started some things in your community. Sometimes we think we have to start really big with a really big program with a lot of money and a lot of things. But the reality is we can start very, very small. And so I want to think about how do we start small with relationship to community fire sensitization? How do we start small? What are things that you could do now without any money to connect with your communities?
Can I go first again?
Of course.
I
Anytime.
remember, yes, I remember uh, when I started the fire preventions in Mathare, uh, I, I put on my PPEs because I needed first of all to know who my recipients are or who the people are, the community are. So I invited one firefighter and we put PPE and we walked from about a kilometer away, just with our full PPE, with absolutely no plan whatsoever. So the main intention was for them to actually just get to know that the firefighters are their friends. So we're just waving at them and then walking through. So when we did the first lap, the next, after 2 days, we just used very basic tools for the job. We had a lantern that costed about 30 shillings. Yeah, in fact, it's actually right here with me. I don't know if it's a koroboi. We call it a koroboi, a lantern. And this is actually what I started with, just telling them that this tool are the ones that really cause a lot of fires. And the lessons that I started with for a start just lasted about 5 to 7 minutes, not even a lot. And then I walk again to another village, do 5 to 7 minutes, getting to know what those people, what lesson that they wanted. Yeah, so that's how I started.
Thanks, Jose. That can seem so small, and yet it can have such a big impact. Just going into the community with your PPE and being available to the kids to say what it is and to tell them about it, to let them know that firefighters care about them, and that you're available. And if you don't have full PPEs, something that identifies you as a firefighter. Even if you don't have the full PPE to do that with, maybe your chief isn't supportive of your going in your PPE for some reason. Maybe there's something else, your badge or something that can help identify you as a firefighter, to have those conversations. Even just going through the community to to just say, hey, I'm a firefighter. What questions do you have about my job? Or what questions do you have about how you call the fire department? Do you know how to do that? Can be really helpful. What else? What are some other things could get you started? All right. So what were some of the things that you discussed during the breakout session? Do we have, hopefully we had 2 spokespeople identified?
My group chose me. This is Francis.
Uh-huh.
We were able to discuss a number of things. Number one being, we can go around where we come from within our area, whereby we can source for fire extinguishers that are in either apartments, schools, or industries, and showcase to our people on how to effectively use them in case of fire. That was our point number one. Number two, our training on the basic fires that happen at our homestead where we live. Supposing you are frying sausages and they happen to go to catch fire, instead of covering the pan, you add water, which is very dangerous. So we can educate our people on the basic and the causes that may arise in case you are working within your kitchen. Point number three, our fellow firefighter was able to raise a scene whereby a hen caused fire near
Wow.
near his homestead, because that person was using a tin lamp like the one Jose has just showed us. The tin had fell down well with full kerosene. As the hen was trying to escape, flapping its wings, it was able to add more oxygen to the fire, hence leading to a full house being burnt down. So separating your birds and the sources of fire could also come in handy. And number four, my team was mixed with firefighters from KU. They are saying, raising a point on educating kids from primary school on causes of fire, types of fire extinguishers, and yes, and how to properly use fire extinguishers. That was all we discussed. Thank you.
Forgot to unmute myself. Thanks, Francis.
You're welcome.
Excellent, excellent. One thing that, in just reflecting on that, then we'll hear from group two, is it's really important as we're thinking about those resources. Fire extinguishers are excellent. They're a great resource. Not everyone in all of our communities has access to a fire extinguisher. And so we want to pay attention to the things that are locally available that people do have access to that can act in the same way as the fire extinguisher. Jose was telling me a story a few weeks ago. I don't know if you could share that as well with the Zimamoto from Kibera that had the fire extinguishers that had been passed out there. Would you share that story?
Yes, there's another community organization in Kibera that had come with a concept of sharing fire extinguishers to the community. So they identified the homes and they went and said, I'm just picking up a number, 20 homesteads. So they went and bought 25 extinguishers. So they trained them on how to use them and also how to maintain them. Not to maintain them, maintain them in regards to removing the dust and also avoiding debris, locking the nozzles. So they gave them. When they were coming back for a review in 3 months, there was absolutely no fire extinguisher in either of the 20 homes that they had given the extinguishers. Each and every person who was given an extinguisher sold the extinguisher, So yeah, that was really sad because for as much as they went to do a good thing, the people that were given saw monetary in it and they were selling them for a song. And unfortunately, they didn't reach their goal of fire prevention.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. So it's something for us to keep in mind when we're going into the community is, does the community see the value in what we're doing and how we're doing it? Or is there other value when we can keep things low cost, locally available, we're generally going to see more successes. Okay, group two.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Richard from Ngunjiri County Fire, and I want to present about on the locally available resources that we can use to help or educate the public on basic fires and how to put off to extinguish fires. And we had a number of them that we are talking about, like for example what Jose had, the coral boy, which most of the homestead in this locality, like where I am, they always use it because most of them are not yet connected with power. And you find by the end of the day, whoever is using it might fall asleep. and they forget and on putting it off. So in such a situation, that's where we try to talk to the community and tell them the essence on how to use a different method of writing. They can use either the some other means like the solar systems. If you don't have, they can use the other methods of writing instead of using the corroboring. Then the other thing was these paraffin stoves that they use the paraffin. As time goes by, when it's new, it's always very effective. But as time goes by, it goes and the mechanism of now putting off or trying to extinguish the fire throughout the stove, it's destroyed. And you find most of us try to brew it out. And brewing it out can cause a lot because the fire that was up can easily go down to where the paraffin tank is, and it will burst out. Or also, some of us try to pour water on it, some little bit of water, and you just pour it over. So now it's time to bring up them to show them the effective way to do that and how to control all those fires in the local, and trying to tell them if you have to cook using that, please try to use a different room with no or less fuel or clothing that are available. Then the other thing is mostly on now where people are going with now the technology. The people are advancing to use the gas cylinders, the small one. We have the bigger, the 13 kg one. We have the 3 kg one and the 6 kg one. So now you try to train the community the essence of that. You just have to come up with that cylinder and a local blanket, or if you have a fire blanket, it's well and good. But if they don't have the fire blanket, you can use the normal blanket, provided you soak it in water. Then the polarity of the blanket is interfered when you soak it in water, and you show them just the easiest way to extinguish that fire instead of them running out and leaving the gas over, which can bring more damage. It's easier for them to extinguish on that. Then the other thing is you can also try to show them how to extinguish the cooking oil with a mixture of petroleum, just small bit of petroleum and diesel. If you mix them, they form a compound that is more heavier, it can be not 100% equal to the cooking oil, but it has some of its properties. So we can help them with those. These are some of the things that we can be able to find them locally, although at a cost, but at a very lower cost. Thank you so much. That's what we had in our group.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. For both groups 1 and 2, really great ideas of simple ways to get started with those resources that are available to you. I'm going to take us into one more breakout session in a moment, but before we do that, I want to make sure that all of you are aware of resources that are available to you from Africa Fire Mission on our website. And we're going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So this is Africa Fire Mission's website. And when you go to the top of our website from the homepage, you'll select About and then Our Curriculum. And from that tab, or I also put the direct link in the chat for you. From there, you're going to be able to see all of the resources that we have available. So if you're interested in learning more about locally available resources, you can read about CHE and kind of what we do with the community health education. And then you'll also see all of the resources, anything that we've handed out at any symposium that we've done, you can also access those resources here. So maybe you want a pretty version of some of the training materials and kind of even to show folks from your phone while you're in the community. You could open up the flipbook on your phones and utilize the lessons this way. So this is a lesson on preventing fires in your homes. You have all of the information for you as the instructor on the black and white pages. And then the colored pages are the things that you would talk to the community about. So this is a story about cooking, and you can ask the community these showed questions as a way to get them talking about solving their own problems with relationship to fire. I'm not going to go through the lessons today, but I'd really like to encourage you, if you haven't been through our lessons before, to try them out. Last week, Craig and our training talked about drills. This could be one of your drills to go through the fire prevention lessons together and think about how do you apply them in your area? What would be the best way in your area? Maybe the story about Sarah doesn't work for you and you want to share a different story. Great. We're trying to get people thinking about fires in their homes. What story would you like to share? So think about that. So all of the lessons are here on our website. Again, you could use the flipbook in the field if you don't have a paper version or access to print. Some people find that they're easier to access this way. So if you scroll down after you get below the flip books, there are fire safety lessons here. So we have 6 full lessons. These are just printouts. So the pictures aren't there, but you have the same stories. They might be a little bit easier for you to access out in the community. The method side are the questions that you would ask in the community. And the knowledge side are the answers that you're hoping the community will give you. One of the things that we have seen over and over again in community development work, not just fire prevention, but community development as a whole, is if I give you the answers, you are less likely to take those things to heart than if you give me the answers to the struggles that you're having. And so it works the same with fire prevention. If you ask the questions and give the community time to respond, they will be able to give you more information. We do have kind of 2 versions that you'll see available on our website. You'll see the Che versions and what we call the general versions, that are the general lessons. They're the same lessons, but the Che lessons integrate in a faith-based component, a Christian faith-based component that you're also welcome to use. And sometimes those stories and those lessons can really help connect the community to the materials in a different way than the general lessons by themselves. You'll also see we do have a Swahili translation available for those areas. And very soon we will also have, for places outside of Kenya, we have a Portuguese translation that's nearly completed, as well as a French translation for countries in Africa that use those lessons. We also have these translated into Ukrainian, although I'm not sure that that's on here for the work that we're doing in Ukraine. So we have our 6 basic lessons: preventing fires in your homes, safe use of candles and lamps, preventing cooking fires, preventing burns from fires with stop, drop, and roll, preventing electrical fires, and responding and preventing bushfires. All of those lessons are there. They're consistent. Each one also contains information on fire extinguishers, contains information about calling the fire brigade, and a section that we call Firefighters Are Your Friends. Because we really want, and each time that we're out in the community, making sure that the community has the fire brigade's number and making sure that they know that you as firefighters want to be there for them. It's very important. There's some other resources that we talk about less frequently that I wanted to make sure you knew about. We have 2 fire safety checklists that if you're in your own home, or maybe you're going to a family member's home or a friend's home, you could use these checklists to help you think about safety. And it also includes short lessons for those home visits that you can teach along the way. So does the family know how to call the fire brigade? Do they know how to use candles and lamps safely? Cooking, is the home ventilated? What about those electrical installations that you talked about? Does the family know some basic fire safety rules? So there's some questions that you can ask to just get conversations going when you're in homes. And then you can also track data. If your fire brigade is interested in tracking data, you could utilize this as a way to track the data for the homes that you're visiting. So we also have some other handouts. There are some lessons on fire evacuation drills. Sometimes we've noticed that fire evacuation drills are not often conducted, and sometimes we don't know how to start. So the lesson here on fire evacuation is really designed for places where fire evacuations have never been done before. Sometimes some of the materials you may be getting in school or from your fire trainings might be more advanced than what you need to really get schools started with fire evacuation drills or get businesses started. And so this includes preparation and helping the business prepare for an evacuation drill, and then also training on what to do. There's a training specific to smoke alarms and fire extinguishers. And there are several emergency posters, number posters that also include education that you can use. So you can fill in your emergency numbers here. You are welcome to edit any of these materials to make them applicable for your area. And so there's, it can be printed double-sided, or you could just take a piece of cardboard and write those numbers for people if the printing is too difficult. So think again about those locally available resources. Do they have these numbers? And making sure that community members know who to call, and also recognizing in many areas the numbers are different for fire, ambulance, and police. So acknowledging that as well, so they know that there's a difference there. We also have a ton of activities for children, along with a whole program that you could do in schools. So there's some fun activities with a coloring book and a helmet that you could create out of a paper plate. There is also some lessons for schools if you're interested in that. So it's a whole program that you can do in schools. Again, it's in the same format as those other lessons, but it would be a little bit longer because it is for kind of a full program in schools. And it's a step-by-step of how you could do that community fire safety program in a school for kids or in a church. We've had some churches invite kids into, or invite firefighters in to do this during a Sunday school lesson or something like that. So the last things I want to point out, and then we'll go into just a quick breakout session before we wrap up today. Oh, maybe we won't. It's almost 10. Goodness. Or 5, your time. So there's also some places you can report data. If you report data to us, we will send you the report back. So you will have that data for the future. So if you conduct a training and you click on this link, you can send us the information about who you trained, where you trained, how many participants were there, and what lessons that you taught. It takes about 2 minutes to fill it out, but it can really help us and help you and your community see what you're doing. I know we have several people here from Kenyatta University today. This could be something that you could utilize or create something similar for teaching students at the university, making sure that they have the information and then tracking that's actually happening, that you're going out and teaching the students these lessons as well. So that is available for you. And then we've also, because those fire safety assessments can be so important, we've created a simple fire safety assessment that Jose has been testing in some schools. And this could be used in schools or businesses. Again, if you complete this for us, you will get that data back and you can use this. So we would also give you access if you wanted to duplicate this form and track it for your own records outside of Africa Fire Mission. We'd be happy to give you that resource. So this is just a basic fire safety assessment. Again, sometimes in our schools and our fire schools, we're taught to do assessments that might be more advanced than your community is ready for. And so this has been created in a way to think about those folks who are just being introduced to the concepts of a fire safety inspection. We're going to do this assessment as a way to help them begin to think about some of the safety needs in that building. So this one takes a longer period of time. It's probably, usually it gets completed alongside of the, you complete it while you're doing the assessment, is what I was going to say, is the easiest way to do this. Again, you can do this on your phone. Jose, would you say this takes about an hour to complete?
Actually, it takes up exactly 18 minutes.
Okay. To go through the school and complete the assessment, or just to complete the form?
So, just to complete the form, because you're going to have, first of all, you'll go through with that particular person. Is it called the assessor or the assessee? The person who's going to walk you through the school.
Yep.
And then if they're fast enough, you can complete, okay, let me say about 25 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes, you can complete the whole document. If you're going with hand in hand with that person, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great,
yeah.
Thank you. And we can answer some more questions about that. So the last thing I want to point out is these are very basic, but these, we have created a playlist of some trainings that are videos that you could send out via WhatsApp. Send these 2 to 3 minute videos out to your friend groups, into community groups that you're in WhatsApp or on Facebook, or create your own video with the same ideas to really help your community learn some things. I've seen a few communities in Kenya doing this, and would love to see more. But these videos are available for you to just use and share, or you could create your own. And there are, I don't know, probably about 6 videos available at this time. Okay, that went really fast. I'm going to be here and stay with you guys for a little bit to answer any questions and to further the discussion. If you, so let me just close out the training with a thank you. Thanks for being here again today. Next week, I forgot to look who we have. I think we have Brett Miller next week or Jason Braun. I'll look for our training.
It should be Brian.
Is it Brian?
I think it's Brian or
no, Jason Braun. Yep, Jason Braun.
Jason Braun, sorry.
Yep, and then Brian the next week. And Brian will actually be talking more about fire prevention and some of what they're doing in North Dakota and how some of those things might be able to apply. Next week, Jason Braun is going to be talking about fire behavior and what is happening there. And things to be aware of in terms of fire behavior and some of the science of fire behavior on the fire grounds. So thank you all for attending. Please complete the evaluations and we will have the recording available shortly for this, as well as on that training link, I will link to the fire prevention lessons that you can use on a regular basis.